Hi, pursuers. Welcome to another episode of The Pursuit of Happiness. I am Naz Kazimi, your host. Today's podcast is our first ever Q&A. I'm so excited to do this with you guys since I have been even thinking of making podcasting a thing for myself. I've always wanted to kind of start off with doing these sort of Q&As. And the reason that I like it is because I feel like I'm really good at giving advice. A lot of my friends say that, and it's my way I feel of giving back to people, like I can sit and answer things truthfully, and I've been told that I'm very motivational and very strong and confident, and I kind of want to give that energy back to people and just help people out, as much as I can. So I've been getting questions from people for so long, and I just sort of wanted to, I put them all together. I listed them. I made like an Excel spreadsheet, and then I also found some questions throughout my years that I thought, oh my God, I know how to answer this so much better than this person did. And so I've written those down, and I kind of went through all my stuff, and I've kind of put all the questions together. I've done lots of Ask Me Anythings on my social medias. So I have cultivated a bunch of great questions that I sort of want to answer. So welcome to that first ever episode. And moving right along, I will put in our show notes, or in my show notes, sorry, I should say, a place that you can reach me, and you can also send in your questions should you have any. So let's get into it. We're going to start off with some mental health and self-worth questions. First one, why do I sabotage good things in my life? Good question. I am the expert at sabotaging anything that comes my way. Now, there's a bunch of things that I can contribute to this. First and foremost, I had undiagnosed ADHD. So this might be an avenue that you need to go down and just explore for yourself. Why I say this as the first one? Because for so long, I actually thought that something was wrong with me. And I've been to many therapy sessions and talked to many counselors and therapists and psychiatrists. And what is wrong with me? How come when things are about to go good, it doesn't? I run away from it. Some minuscule examples. When I was in school and I went to college, I would study for my exams, and then when it came to writing them, I would just want to show up to the exam. So I would literally flunk the entire course. I don't know what it was. Now, again, late diagnosed ADHD. So I started to learn that there's many contributions to that. Part of it is the rejection syndrome, that I just don't want to be rejected by anything. So feeling that I'm going to go in there and fail, scares me. Now, some might rebut that and be like, well, why would you think that you would fail? Why would you just not go and attempt it? Because maybe you would pass. Then it also goes back to my ADHD, like that pressure of having to do it under somebody else's timeline. And I know those that don't have ADHD are laughing and being like, then how do you even perform in life? Like when there's deadlines due and whatnot. I understand, and it's so much easier said than done when you're not in that position. But anyone that does have ADHD, ADD, some sort of mental disorder that you're medicated for, especially those two, maybe even anxiety, you understand what I'm saying. It's just, my life has been ruined because I sabotage things, especially good things in my life. And so this goes to my next diagnosed with a disorder or a mental health condition answer. Why do I sabotage good things in life? One counselor had told me, is it your fear of failure, or could it be your fear of success? And this is probably the best answer that I've ever gotten, and really stuck with me because I was like, wow, that's powerful. Part of what I just said a few seconds ago was that I'm always fearful of not doing well, of what if I fail? What if I don't pass? What if now I'm laughing, now I have to go do it again? That pressure just builds up. And I had one counselor that I went to go see, one therapist, and she was like, well, what if you succeed? Could you have fear in that? Because you're so used to being in a survival mode and you're constantly looking at the glass half empty when it comes to things like this. Could it be that you're not even looking at the glass half full and the glass half full scares you, so you'd rather just look at it half empty? Sometimes we are fearful that we will fail, but we live in that space for so long that actually the fear is that we're going to succeed. And when it succeeds, like what? It's that easy. Like all of a sudden we're succeeding, and now what? What's the next step? We live in a space where we're constantly like one level below the failure. Like we don't actually fail, like because we don't write the test, we don't go audition, or we don't go try to join this friend group or hang out with these people, because automatically in our heads we've already failed. But what if that fear is actually the fear of success? And what happens if we do get accepted or we do pass the test? Like, now what's the next point of survival, you know? It's like we're just so used to surviving. And that was what I used to do. Another thing is, I think that we live in a world where everything has to be perfect before we start. And I'm also very guilty of this. I don't start nothing until it's absolutely perfect. The conditions are perfect, the setting is perfect, the people are perfect, I'm perfect. But is that really realistic? Like, are we actually ever perfect at any given time in space? We're not. So again, being diagnosed with ADHD and kind of learning everything about myself as I go on and being much more self-aware, especially now that I'm in my early 40s, I'm 41 years old. I am learning that you just got to start. And then you read a lot of things about these really successful entrepreneurs, very successful people who have made it in life. And they never wait for the quote unquote perfect moment. They just go for it. And I think that's a very important concept to remember as well. Like, you just have to start. But if you wait for the perfect moment, you're going to be waiting forever. And I'm really good at this in other aspects. Like, for example, when I came and I moved to Mexico, for so long I was waiting for the perfect moment. And then I realized, oh man, if I keep planning, I'm going to be planning forever. I'm not actually going to do the move. So I just had to do it. And a lot of things in my life, that's what I've done. I've just done it. And then I always say this, I'll do the action first and then I'll apologize later for doing it, or I'll figure it out later. But just the way that my brain worked, and it's not with all things for some reason, it was just the things that really motivated me, a big dopamine rush, like completely changing my environments, things like that I would do. Buying a car, you know, making a big purchase, or a whole bunch of things. I would do it first and then I would figure it out later. And my move happened to be one of them. For a year, I was supposed to move to Mexico a lot earlier, last year, but I was doing that thing where I was sabotaging good things. I kept waiting for the perfect moment. And then I realized that it was fleeting. Like, every time I was waiting for the perfect moment, I actually was getting further and further away from making it here. And then I had to make the decision to just pack up my things with my daughter and be like, if we wait any longer, we're never going to go. Because something else is going to come up. It's life. Life is lifing. So we hopped in the car and we made it down. So why do we sabotage good things in life? It's just that fear that we're not quite ready yet, or that we're going to get rejected, or perhaps even the fear that we're going to succeed, and then what? But my best advice to this is, first of all, really be self-aware, dig deep, do a lot of self-development. What I did was, when I had quit my corporate job, which was being a general manager at a gym, I started doing a lot of self-reflection. I did a lot of those Tony Robbins virtual conferences, Brandon Bouchard. I started listening to Ed Milet. A lot of the podcasts that I listened to switched up, you know. And I just did a lot of self-work, self-reflection. Whenever I would get a self-development sort of questionnaire, I would answer those questions in my journal. I journaled a lot more. I try to meditate. It's one of those things that's really hard for me. Like, I can keep up for a little bit and then not. And then I start to spend a lot of time alone as well. Not because I'm lonely or that I have nobody, but because I just want to reflect. I didn't always want to be surrounded by noise. And that has helped me a lot as well. It's as I get older and older by age, I start to learn a lot more things about myself, and that's very important. And that comes, wisdom like that comes with aging. And so that's why I'm so proud to say that I'm 41. I'm also proud to say that I don't look 41. I'm proud to say that I'm that age, and with the wisdom that I've gained throughout my 41 years, I'm so proud of it. But it's taken a lot of work, a lot of disappointments, a lot of sabotaging good things in life, and reflecting on why I did that. So again, let's circle back. My ADHD brain just likes to digress. Why do we do it? Because we're always waiting for that perfect moment, but that perfect moment does not exist. So you do it and you either fail, and fail is not a bad word because it just gives you another chance to go at it again with a different approach. I think we've been used to failure being such a bad word. Or we succeed and we move on to the next thing. But I think the biggest thing that holds us back is that we're waiting for a perfect moment. And whether you have ADHD or not, being a perfectionist won't really play out well. You can clean your house 1,000 times, but if you have kids or a husband or people come over, it's dirty again. Or you come home from work and you bring, like, are you constantly cleaning it gets exhausting waiting for that perfect moment. That's even more exhausting than just doing the task that you've been asked to do that you end up sabotaging. So if this is your reminder to not sabotage and to just go for it, because you'll never have that perfect moment, then this is your reminder to go for it and don't sabotage that thing that you've been looking forward to or that is waiting for you, because, the perfect moment does not exist. And let's say you've already sabotaged, okay? To my listeners that have already sabotaged, it's okay. It just wasn't meant to be. And now you just wait for the next moment, or you make the next moment happen. And however that is for you, you got to push till you get that perfect, not so perfect moment. Because again, perfection doesn't exist. So, and I just said the word, and I have to also get used to not using it in my vocabulary, because I really believe in, okay, for example, here's a good example. I don't know how to put it in words. When you go to AA meetings or NA meetings and you say, hi, I'm Nas, I'm an addict, or I'm Nas, I'm an alcoholic. But then if you read books like The Secret and Manifestations, like, you have to manifest what you want to be. I don't want to be an alcoholic anymore. So why am I going to these meetings saying that I'm an alcoholic? Could I say that, hi, I'm Nas in recovery? This is another approach that I always teach my lifestyle clients, because I'm a coach. I'm an online fitness coach. I tell this to my daughter as well. Sometimes she's like, I'm starving. I'm like, you're not starving. You could probably live another 3 or 4 days without food. You're hungry. Because I suffer from binge eating, and when I tell myself that I'm starving, I'm gorging at everything, because I want to make sure that I am like a bear stocked up for the winter hibernation. But that puts my feeding frenzy into panic mode, and I start eating literally everything in sight, even when I'm full and my stomach is huge and I'm throwing up food, because in my head I said that I was starving. So choosing your words carefully is also really important. So I'm going to take that back. But back to that, see my ADHD brain, you guys? Do you see how it works? But anyways, the perfect moment doesn't exist. Go out there and get it done. And if you've already sabotaged what you think was an opportunity that came your way, forget about it. Go make that opportunity happen again. Don't wait for it. Make it happen again. And this time when it comes, just remember how it felt when you had let the previous one slide. It's the best advice that I can give. This is a good one. Next question. I feel like I'm behind in life. How do I stop comparing myself? This is hi, I feel like I send these questions in or something. How do we stop comparing ourselves? I think as humans and all the technology and the tools that we're surrounded with, I think that that's impossible. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here, but I mean, how about this? Get off social media and go live in the bush. You're not comparing yourself to anything anymore. You're not seeing how other people live throughout your everyday life, you know? It's really easy to walk. I lived in Vancouver before I moved to Mexico. It's really easy to walk through the downtown east side on East Hastings and be like, thank God I'm not there. But it's a lot harder to go up to the British properties and be like, damn, where did I go wrong that I'm not living in one of these houses? You know? So you're going to be surrounded by that. I don't want to walk through the downtown east side every day. I don't want to walk through the projects or where there's a lot of homelessness every single day. I want to walk through those nice neighborhoods, but I'm at a fear that if I do, I'm going to be constantly comparing myself and stripping myself of my potential because I'm anxious now and I'm just living in the, where did I go wrong? How did I go wrong? This is the way my brain works. Now, there's a lot of things that I've done as well. There's things that I'm confident in, for going to the gym, for example. When I'm in the gym, I know that I'm great. And I know that people look up to me. And that's a confidence that I've built because of all the work that I put into that. And I'm trying to apply that to different aspects of my life because I feel like and I'm going to use the gym as an example. Before I ever started working out, I was not confident. I always want to look like somebody else. I want to be somebody else. I wasn't happy in my skin. But once I started working out, it's such a great metaphor for everything in life. Like, I became so much more confident in myself because of the work that I put in. I didn't even have my dream body yet. But because I was putting in that work, that hard work, I didn't want to be anybody else. I just wanted to improve myself to make myself the best. And I feel like that applies to everything. And it's, again, another concept that I want to carry with me in all things that I do. If I approach life like that, like I'm putting in hard work with my podcast. So I'm confident in it. It's my baby. I'm doing great at it. I don't care if people like it or not. It's going to attract the people that it aligns with. But I think that now because I've put in the hard work to get it to the point that it's at now. Same thing with work. There are times where I'm not as proud of myself for the work that I put into certain things because I know that I could do so much better in terms of the work that I put in. But the things that I put my work into, such as the day that I do clean my house, another example, my daughter, my fitness, my podcast, when I cook food, even if something is like the food that I've cooked, or I look at my steps for the day and I have like at least 20,000 steps. I'm so confident in that. I don't compare it to anybody else. I don't have time to compare it to anybody else. I'm A, on cloud nine, and B, I'm just kind of so impressed with my work ethic that it gives me the high to go on to the next task, But some days it's not so easy, and some days it's quite incredibly hard to get myself to that level. So I'm gentle. I've also learned that I have to be gentle to myself. How I give people advice is how I want to give my internal self-advice, because you find that, and I'm sure everybody knows this, that you're your worst enemy when it comes to not achieving what you had planned for the day, for the month, for the year, for the next 5 years, 10 years, etc., for life. Your self-talk to yourself is the worst. But the same thing that I would tell my daughter, that I'm telling you guys, is the same thing that I want to take to myself, to my internal self, and say, it's okay, tomorrow's a brand new day. And I do this a lot with my lifestyle coaching clients, because sometimes I get messages like, oh, I screwed up and this happened and I had to do this and I didn't even track my food this week and I just binged, and it's okay. Gentle reminder, we're human, we're going to make mistakes. But tonight is a new night. You can still jump on your walking pad or go to the gym and do a couple steps. You don't even have to do anything intense. Just go for a nice walk outside. Take the dog, take the husband, make a phone call to the best friend, listen to a podcast, go for a walk. Not too much pressure on yourself. Just tomorrow's a brand new day. Get up, start tracking again, and remind yourself that you deserve to be your healthiest self. So it's okay if you loathe or binge for 2-3 days, but you got to jump back on it. I also still have these binge episodes with my food because I'm an addict and I don't do drugs. I don't drink alcohol, but food is my crutch. And I do have weeks where I go and I'm just binging. Now, lucky for me, I don't really binge on bad food. Not anymore anyway. So the weight does drop off quite quickly, but I have to get a grip on it. And sometimes, again, I'm my own worst enemy, and being an addict, it's so hard for me to just break the pattern. But I just have to have faith, and every day that I wake up, I try again. So every day and for the past couple of weeks, I've kind of been experiencing this. I wake up every day, like today I'm going to try something different. And maybe for the first couple hours, I don't eat as much. And then towards the end of the night, I still do. That's still an improvement from when I first started binging again, which was a couple weeks ago. It's a huge improvement. But it's just being gentle with myself. Why am I the hardest on myself, but I'm so gentle with my clients? It works for them. It's going to work for me too. I have to let go of that pressure of always, again, here we go, trying to be perfect. And I have to remind myself that we're all each on our own journeys, and we'll get there. But the reason that it's probably harder for me to get there, especially with my mindset, is because I'm so mean to myself when stuff like that happens. And I give everybody else grace. And I want to look at myself from the outside of how I look at other people. Because everybody else gets back on track and they're okay. And I want to talk to myself the way that I talk to people and give them the encouragement to just get right back on it. Get back on the horse and keep riding. Because if I can give myself that grace, I think that when it comes to these episodes that I have or these bad moments that I have, I can stop comparing myself to other people in those moments and just reflect on my own journey and realize that, you know what? It's okay. It was just a day. You're going to do fine tomorrow. You're going to do fine in the next couple hours, Extend that grace to myself. But comparison really is the thief of joy, because if you live in that space of just, and especially not taking accountability, that's another element to it, but, that person's doing that. I knew her like 10 years ago and blah, blah, blah. That should have been me. That's just, I think, the most toxic place to live in. And, I'm a woman of faith as well. And I just don't think God, the universe, the stars, the energy in the world doesn't align you with what you want when you're constantly thinking about the negativity of the other people and not really taking accountability for yourself. So back to the question again, I digressed. I feel like I'm behind in life. How do I stop comparing myself? Your life is going to be different from your neighbor's life. And your neighbor's life is going to be different than the people that they go to school with life or the people that they work with life. And everyone's life is completely different. So when we're ahead, we're happy, but when we're behind, we feel a certain way, but we're never behind or ahead. It's just we need to stop comparing ourselves to other people and just realize that the universe works out for us in ways that we can't even understand. It will always work out. And when things don't work out, it's probably because it wasn't meant to be. That's another good way of looking at it. I don't know if you guys have heard about the burnt toast theory. Like if the toast is burning, wait an extra few minutes because it's probably stopping you from going out into the world because something might happen, accident, etc. Right? It's kind of like it's giving you those few extra minutes to not go out into the world, or else something would have happened to you. So same thing when you get into ruts like this. I'm not there yet, but I will be there. I don't have that yet, but I'm going to get it. That's going to be mine in 5 years. If we can change our mindset to that, it's so different than, I can't believe I'm still here. How come that person has it and I don't? What did she do that I can't do? What does she have that I don't have? What does he have that I don't, So it's just a mindset shift and just speaking to ourselves a lot kinder so that we give ourselves that grace. And that grace almost gives you energy to keep going, Because the more negative you talk to yourself, you don't want to do anything. But when you're more positive, you're like, you know what, I got this, So that's the best advice I can give for something like that. This is actually a great question. And then I'll move on to some other topics. I'm scared to start over in my 40s. Is it too late? Wrong person to be asking maybe for this, because I'm so happy. Like, I feel like I'm starting over again in my 40s. I'm 41. 40 was a great year for me. When I was about to turn 40, I was financially great, etc. But my addiction manifested into something that I ended up spending a lot of money on, and that was shopping. And then I lost the job that I was doing. And the job that I was doing wasn't necessarily, I was getting paid cash. It wasn't necessarily the best job in terms of growth. But I think that this rebrand of myself and my life is exactly where I need it to be. See, I'm not going to compare myself and be like, oh, there's other 40-year-olds that are like live in mansions and they have like 3 kids and they're married. And no, because my life, I have faith in the direction that I'm going. And I've always said that, especially being someone that has ADHD, I want to live an authentic life, and I want to do things that matter to me. And this is the direction that I'm going, and I'm so happy that I'm here. I have all this wisdom and all this knowledge, and I feel better than I've ever felt. I look better than I've ever looked, and I'm actually don't think that it's too late. I think that it's just the beginning. So 40s is not too late. We're just beginning with a fresh new mindset, with a fresh new pair of eyes, with a fresh new set of goals and principles and wisdom that we've gained throughout our years. Some people are going through marriages. Some people are going through divorces, death. This is all giving us that wisdom and that courage to just continue on. So is the 40s too late to restart all over again? Absolutely not. It's actually just the beginning. Kids are older and they're off to college and university and high school, and we have more time for ourselves, and we're able to reflect a lot more. And again, with the wisdom that we've gained, I think, again, we're just starting. So it's never too late. My motto is, you're never too old and it's never too late. And this is the perfect question to implement that into. So just remember that. Nas says, you're never too old and it's never too late. And I just saw a quote the other day that says, I have no prime. I'm going to evolve until I die. And that's kind of my motto, because I just feel like every year I keep saying, yeah, you ain't seen nothing yet. Like, because every year I just keep getting higher and higher in my mindset and my wisdom and my confidence. And I don't want to be one of those people that's like, you know what, I'm 50 now. I think I'm done. I'm just going to chill. Absolutely not. And this is where I'm kind of really proud of being ADHD, because like I'm always kind of not, I guess ADHD is searching for the next thrill, but I just want to keep getting bigger and better and bigger and better. And it's not always like, before it was about money, but now it's just about like evolving as a human, and what can I contribute to the world, and where are the places that I can see, and how can I share my knowledge with people, especially now that I'm on a platform like having a podcast, you know, how can I spread the knowledge and the wisdom and the courage and the confidence that I have to other people. And I'm just starting out. And I feel like you should feel that way too. So that was all the questions. I mean, we'll get back to that another time, but that was the mental health part of it. Let's get into career and money. Okay, these are some career and money questions. I hate my job but need the money. Now what? Again, this might be, I might be the wrong person to talk to about this, because I'm a huge risk taker type person. And I just want to say that every time I have taken a huge, huge risk in my life, it's always worked out for me. But with taking a huge risk in your life, there comes a lot of consequences, or just things that are out of your control for the initial time being, until you can gain control again. So, for example, one would be financially. There's 2 types of people in this world. Some that are okay just doing the bare minimum until they get to a point that they want, and some people that would rather be financially secure and not take as big of a risk, because that would really, it's just for their mental health, be very detrimental to them. And I understand that, because me being on a food budget and just not being able to shop drives me insane, you guys. And I think that's probably why some of my binging has come back. It's just a way of me trying to control, or being out of control, you know? But the risk for me that I took, thinking about where I want to be, outweighs that any day of the week. But for other people, it's not the same. Not everyone thinks like Nas. My brother, great example, he'd rather be financially secure. And he sometimes tells me like, you're so brave for taking this huge risk, but like, aren't you afraid like how you're going to be able to eat for the rest of the month and whatnot? And I'm like, I always end up figuring it out. And yeah, I am on the edge of my seat, usually. I live in this sort of space where it's like, maybe it is the ADHD at this point taking over, but like, it's like an adrenaline, like, how am I going to, but like, it does work out. And I'm really confident in where I'm going, that I'm going to get there, but I had to take that risk, or else if I didn't, I would be stuck in that place that I always am. So back to answering this question, which, see guys, my ADHD brand, I digress all the time. You need the money, so there's a bunch of options you can do. You can get another part-time job and really for the next few months, save as much as you can. Easier said than done, abso-freaking-lutely. But you really need the money, so that seems to outweigh the risk for you, right? So save as much as you can, and then maybe quit the full-time job, and just, because now you have a good, maybe a 6-month emergency fund saved up, which is the standard now. I hear a lot of financial experts say 6 months at least. Have that saved up. Keep maybe the part-time job until you're able to find another full-time job. The thing about entrepreneurship and just kind of starting over is like, you got to start, this is back to that question. You got to start ASAP, because if you wait too long, the growth happens a lot later. Because everything needs those first few years to flourish, to boom, to break out of the soil, to fertilize and to harvest it, and harvest, no, I think it's taking it out, but to get it in the soil and to kind of see the roots grow, and to water it, and to make it a plant before it has fruits coming out of it, This is my plant reference. But you really need to start at some point, or else that end goal keeps getting further and further away. So all these questions kind of tie in. Earlier I said that if I didn't take the leap and just come to Mexico, I would be stuck in Vancouver, hating my life, probably really depressed, and always wondering, well, what if I just left? What if I just left? I had to just do it. And I did, and now I'm able to kind of move forward into the steps that I need to. My YouTube channel, I'm focusing a lot on that. And I keep looking at people that are doing great with their YouTubes, and they're doing great now, but they started their YouTube channels, honestly, the best that I've seen, between 7 to 13 years ago. And now they're making money, good money. They started making money after a year or two, but the good money is now. I would be happy if I just made $100 on my YouTube channel, but I've at least started, and it's better than not starting. Because when I didn't start, I had 0 subscribers and no YouTube channel. But now I have over 250 subscribers. My goal is to at least get to 1,000 within, the next 6 months, and start earning a little bit. But if I just kind of like, I was gonna say harvest, but if I kind of nurture this baby of mine, who knows how it's gonna look like in the next 3 to 4 years. But I had to start. I couldn't just keep thinking about it. Same thing with my podcast. I thought about the best podcast. I dreamed about it. I just knew that I could do it because I love to talk. I love to give advice. I'm very confident in my trials and tribulations that I've been through. And I want to give people that hope and that confidence and that advice as well. And this world is never short of learning from other people's experiences. But how was I going to do that without even one episode out? So I went for it. I put out 1 episode. And then I didn't for another 2 months. But instead of sulking, and again, back to that first question that I answered, and not sabotaging it, I was like, you know what? Even if it's 2 months late, I'm going to start again. I'm going to really attempt to be consistent. And I have been. And I've been so consistent that now my podcast has a structure to move on, So I'm really happy about that. But this all had to happen because I just went for it. I took that risk. Am I poor? Yes. Am I calling my parents and asking for money? Absolutely. I'm still making my own, but it covers rent and it covers some of my bills back home. And, now the income that I'm making now, I don't want to sound greedy, but it's not what I used to make. That's the issue for me. It's not like I'm poor. It's just that I was so used to not having a budget, until I had to, which obviously didn't work out for me so well. So this time around, I've kind of learned how to budget a little bit better and make things last. But still, like, I'm still trying to nail that. So hence why I do call back home and I'm like, Mom, can you send me, because me and my daughter are like, we're running out of groceries this week until I get paid again next week. And, I think my parents, especially my mom, has reached a point where she's like, I know you're going to do great. And so I support this. And just them seeing that I left because I want to follow my dreams, they are much more confident that I'm actually doing something. And so they're able to support my dreams more. Same with my brother. And I'm really grateful for them. But I understand the needing the money. I'm a single mom, and part of the reason I moved to Mexico was to not be inundated by consumerism, although it's everywhere. I still scroll on social media and I'm inundated with Mexico Amazon. I was like, oh God. But still, it's not as, don't get me wrong, you can still get it like to your front door. But because the language is a little bit of a barrier for me and I'm on a budget, I'm not as keeping up with the Joneses here, Especially I'm in a smaller beach town. I'm not living in like Mexico City quite yet. Who knows if I want to, but part of the reason I'm moving here is I want to be close to a beach, a sandy beach that's cleared water. I don't want cold Pacific Ocean. I'm right off the Sea of Cortez. So, I digress, but I'm just trying to say, like, I wanted a slower pace of life, but with that slower pace of life, I'm able to focus on what's more important. So my daughter and my businesses and just myself. Whereas back home, it was like a rat race. I was like rushing here, rushing there, traffic for 2 hours, here, there. Then it's dark and it's depressing. And it's like, the only thing I miss about back home is my family. And they're already coming to visit me during Christmas. So it's working out, but I took that risk. So you just have to if you're not as big of a risk taker as, for instance, I am, and you don't want to starve or lose your apartment, or you don't have, the family that supports you, I get it. People are going to listen to this and be like, well, you're lucky. You have the family that supports you, but I don't. I get it. And for a while I didn't. But if you believe in what your next step is, that's up to you to gauge. Don't compare yourself to, see how everything ties in together, you guys? Don't compare yourself to other people. Take that in and see where that's going to take you. And if it's really the money that's stopping you from doing anything, save up for the next 6. You're already there. You haven't quit yet. You've managed to survive. I don't know how long you've been there. So survive it for the next 6, 7, 8 months. Make yourself an emergency fund. Grab an extra part-time job if you need to, just to get out of there quicker, so that 6-month fund comes quicker. And then go on to your next move. And sometimes once you have that emergency fund, the next move is just quitting, because when you have one foot out the door and one foot still in the door, it's also harder to make a decision because you're so laxed. You're so, well, I still have this job, so if worst comes to worst, But if you have that 6-month emergency fund, 1-year emergency fund, I don't know how much you can save without having to spend much. But if you can do that, and you can get both your feet out the door, that also might be beneficial to you. So I hope that's answered that question. This sort of coincides with the question earlier. I want to start a business, but I'm scared of failing. Aren't we all? And one thing I've learned as an entrepreneur, and I am an entrepreneur, and I've tried to start many, many businesses. And 2 things that I've learned is I just don't think that those were meant for me, because if it was, I for some reason didn't stick to them. I feel that life works out the way that it should, but now I'm on to another career, which I'm hoping this will last. And I have the knowledge and more of the wisdom and the patience for it, although I barely have patience, so that's also hard to say. But I feel like another part of it, and here comes another gym reference, you guys, is consistency. I'm not always motivated, but I need to be disciplined enough to stay consistent, and I feel like I have been. And part of what I did to help me get there, especially with my ADHD brain, is just breaking it up into little chunks every day, like not making a huge checklist of things that I have to do. But for example, like today, I went for a walk earlier with my daughter. I came back. I was on my computer. I'm like, hey, I'm going to record a couple episodes so that I can put them out earlier this week. And then I'm getting paid a little bit later today. Once I get paid, I'm going to, imagine in 2-3 years, we look back and we laugh at this. I hope I'm laughing at this, not because I'm filthy rich, although, I'm putting it out there in the universe. I would love that. But because I'll be able to pay my bills without having to worry, which was great. Last year I did, and I just took it for granted, you guys. But, big lesson learned. Anyways, I digress. Totally forgot what I was saying too. But yeah, my Amazon Prime membership has been put on hold because I didn't pay. Because not that I didn't want to, but because I might get paid today. So I guess the bill came out a couple days ago and or even last week. And if you don't pay, they cut you off until you pay again. But I need that to watch my Housewives show so I can do my recap. So when I realized that I really couldn't hop on, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to record a couple episodes, have them ready to go out. Because it's Thursday now. So I'll have this one out on Saturday. And then when I do get the Prime membership back, I can finally watch the last of the episodes that I'm supposed to catch up on this week and then record those. So breaking it into little chunks. That's not even looking at my YouTube channel. That's not looking at my social media channels. That's not even looking at my a blog. Nothing. It's just, I broke it down as simple as I could, So am I scared of failing? Also, this goes back into another question that I answered earlier. This time I'm not. This time I'm just afraid of not putting in the effort. But will I fail? I think that if I stay consistent and disciplined, I believe in myself and what I have to offer. It only took me 41 years to get here, and a lot of failed things to get here. A lot of broken hearts and tears, and sometimes I do reflect back and I'm like, duh, if I just done it, I would have been here by now. But again, then I'm getting into the comparing. And not just comparing myself to other people, but comparing myself to who I was back then. I'm just not that person anymore. I needed to go through that to get here so I can stay consistent now and finally build, because this is the first time that I've really taken a chance on my own personal brand, where everything is about me, centered around me as a brand, as Naz, the lifestyle coach, Naz, the fitness influencer, in the sense that like give my opinion on certain things, Naz, the person that has all these workout videos on YouTube and her socials. Naz, who gives advice about living in Mexico and moving and why it was important for me to get out of a place that kept me sick. Naz, the single mom. Naz, the advice giver. Naz, the podcast host that loves the Real Housewives. Naz, the late diagnosed ADHD 41-year-old woman. I'm taking a huge chance on my personal brand, but I know myself so well now. So I feel like I'm finally over that feel of failure. Now I just cannot wait to succeed. But again, it takes time. And this is where I sometimes lose patience. But I'm here, I'm working hard, I'm trying my hardest. I want to be as honest and authentic with myself as possible, because I feel like the advice that I give, I don't hear a lot of people giving it from like the perspective that I give and how I give. And I just want to be that honest and influential and just give another way of explaining things to people. Because the people that I do give my advice to and I chat with, they're like, well, I've never heard it that way before. That was awesome. You should be a motivational speaker. The ultimate goal would eventually to be doing some motivational speaking, where I can speak in front of a big group of women or colleges, universities, just being asked to speak. I would love that. But I'm really scared of public speaking. Like right now I can talk into my phone and the microphone, but I don't know how that's going to work out when I actually have to do it in front of people. I'll probably be like, I have nothing to say. I'm like those horses that do the racing. I have to put those eye masks on where I only look straight, or for me it would be like to cover the audience. It would only be like I can see like the podium or the microphone, or else I'll like freeze up, But hopefully this helps me get there, guys. Positive self-talk, right? Okay, so again, I want to start a business, but I'm scared of failing. Don't be scared of failing. Every failure, and I want to just take that word and not be so scared of it, is not a failure. It's just one step closer to actually doing it a better way, or a right way, or a way that will stick. So don't be afraid. Go for it. If I've been able to go for it, you can do it too. Um, da-da. Is blocking, okay. Oh boy. I'm just trying to, okay. I want to start over, but I don't know where to begin. Geez, this is kind of, this is a huge, deep, layered question. This will be the last one that I answer because I just take forever to answer them, but hopefully you guys are gaining as much knowledge from these as possible. So the question was, I want to start over, but I don't know where to begin. So this, again, I mentioned it earlier. I love how all the questions sort of tie into each other, or I make them tie into each other. When I had left being a general manager at Gold's Gym, I was also felt this way. I knew that I loved being in a leadership position, but I didn't want to lead people in a gym. I didn't ever want to work in a gym again, in fact, because working in a gym kind of made me hate the gym. Because I loved working out, but I didn't want to work at working out, especially in a gym, because I want to go there for my peace of mind. I don't want to go there so that I hate it. I needed it. It was my sanctuary. But the first couple things that I did was when I left, I just didn't even know where to begin. So I started journaling, and I would do all these courses online, like the Ted Robbins course, the Brendon Bouchard's growth plan, listen to Ed Milet a lot. These are 3 very influential people that I listen to quite often. And I just started to write down things that I was grateful for. I still have the journal. It's back home. I'll bring it with me next time because I have some pages left in it. I want to write things that I was grateful for, but I also wanted to really find out who I was again. When I had gone to Gold's, it was the first time that I had a job, corporate job, after since I was in my working at McDonald's in my early 20s, because then after that I worked for a timeshare company. And then I worked at Earls and Cactus Club, which are restaurants back home. In my late 20s, it was after my daughter was born that I kind of had stopped working corporate, and that was because her father had left me with quite an ample amount of money to work with. And then it was my late 30s when she was about 5-6 years old. I went through some hard times during then. And then when I was in my late 30s, I decided to go do corporate again, which is where I ended up at Gold's. Then the pandemic hit, and after the pandemic, I went back as a general manager. And then I realized I freaking hated it, so I quit. And then I really and then I started hating just working out for a while, and I was at the heaviest that I had been, and I really wanted to get back to who I was. And so I journaled a lot, just wrote down things that I liked. Really started living intentionally every day. Like, what do I want to do today? And there were some days that I just was in agony. I was like, oh, again, I was comparing myself to others, how they lived. But then there were other parts of me that was like, I haven't even got to the best years of my life yet. My daughter's still young. Wait till she gets older and I'm able to do what I want to do, et cetera, et cetera. So, and then I traveled a little bit during that time with her too. What's tough for me is always branching out and making connections with people, because I don't know, I guess you could say that it's a bit of autism, like on the spectrum, but there's a couple things about me that make me say that, and I'm digressing here, but part of it is like I always have to know why the things, like if someone gives me an answer, it's not good enough. I have to deep dive for even if it takes 10 days to understand why. And I'm also quite a loner. I've met a lot of people with ADHD, and I question how the hell are they able to go out and just enjoy their time with people, medicated or not. And then a friend who does have ADD, not ADHD, like she can sit still. As I'm doing this right now, I'm walking around my house, getting in my steps, mind you. But she said to me, she's like, that person that you're speaking of probably doesn't have autism, and you might be slightly on the spectrum if you really hate being around other people. Like I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not. I don't hate being around other people. I love being around other people. Then I go out and I'm like, I hate this. I need to go home. It was just, I always hated being around other people, especially in a big group where there's lots of noise. Like it overwhelms me. So I started traveling a bit, and hard for me to network, but when I travel, I'm a little bit out of my shell because other people, like in Vancouver, it's just people are not friendly, and I've grown up there, so I do have a group of friends, but I became like I love Asian people. Actually, most of my friends are Asian. I have cousins that are half Asian, but the influence in Vancouver is Asian. It's a lot of Asian influence, especially after Expo 86, because I, again, researched the whole history of Vancouver, because that's what my ADHD brain does. And there was a lot of East Indian influence, Sikh influence, Punjabi influence, Japanese influence, and especially Chinese influence, but especially after Expo 86, there's a lot of Chinese influence, hence the towers, and it's very similar to Hong Kong. And as you know, Asian people are very to themselves. So whenever people would come up to me and my group of friends, like, you guys are so not friendly, like back in Toronto, like we all say hi to everybody, you know? And whenever I would travel throughout the world, like my guard was down a little bit. Like if someone said hi to me, I'd say hi back. But in Vancouver, when someone says hi to you, you kind of smile. And I don't know why we're like that. So again, maybe it was a good thing that I left Vancouver. But I always found that traveling would kind of get me out of that space of just being so like to myself as much as it could, because I'm still sort of like, don't want to be around too many people. But then I went with my daughter and a friend to Mexico. And doing that trip, which I never would have done had I still been at Gold's, I realized I actually want to move here. Then the following year, still working on myself throughout the year, me and my daughter traveled alone to another part of Mexico, and we stayed there for a month. And then I realized that solidified what I wanted to do. I actually really do want to move to Mexico. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that had I not left my job and kind of done all this self-searching and reflection, writing in my journal, trying to get out there, realizing that, maybe if I travel a little bit more, I'll be able to get out there. Then traveling a little bit more, and then finding a place that I absolutely loved, and then doing another vacation there, and then realizing that this is where I want to move, and then spending the next year and a half trying to really get the move going, I would not be here. So back to the question, every day is a chance for you to really start over, to really get yourself to a place where you know for certain in the decision that you're making that that's what you want to do. But it doesn't happen right away. It's like one thing leads to another, and this door leads to that door, and then that door closes, and this person leaves, and that person this, and then you get into but you have to start. So it all kind of coincides with each other. There has to be a start somewhere. If you're just constantly thinking about it, you'll be thinking about it forever. At some point, you gotta put on your jacket and step out that door. Okay? So I hope that really answers that question. You just gotta spend a little bit of time alone, and then the answer will be in the routine that you have every day for yourself, that you're doing every day. If you're just sitting on your bed and kind of sulking, it's not gonna work. But again, me quitting my job and then journaling and then watching these conferences online and by a lot of self-help experts, and leading to let me travel because I want to do this. I don't want to be stuck it just led me to where I am now. So you just have to start. Start where? Just anywhere. Pick up a book, go to the library every day. Start going to the gym, just walk on the treadmill. This is a bit out of my reach, but I know it works for some people. Find hiking groups to go to, because who knows who you're going to meet in that hiking group that's going to connect you to something else, that's going to connect you to something else that can find your purpose. Travel. When you travel, there's lots of group activities that you can go to with other people that are traveling that speak the same language as you, whatever that may be. Do that. You can do it, but you just have to start. Because if you keep thinking about it, it's just going to be a figment of your imagination. It was for me for so long. I promise if you just start, it will lead to something else. But you have to take that first step, and it needs to be out that door. So get on your jacket, your parkas, your scarves, your big socks, your gloves. Bring your phone with you, make sure it's charged, but you just got to step out that door, and I promise things will start happening. You gotta be brave enough and courageous enough to just take that first step. Believe in yourself so much that you just take that first step. Things will come. But anyways, guys, I hope that you, enjoyed that first Q&A. I hope that you were able to take some advice with you. And I hope that, you're in your car driving or you're just walking and this is a podcast that's going to give you some encouragement, because that's all I really want to do. I want to give to people what I wish I had for me or what other people have done for me. So hopefully that's going to leave you with a sense of empowerment after today's podcast. And before I get into the brain rot housewives, which by the way does give me lots of pleasure, because so now this makes sense. This is going to come full circle. I don't like to be around a lot of people, but when I watch them on TV, it kind of, oh my God, it makes me just not only like it's like such a self-indulgent thing, but it also makes me happy that I don't have a lot of friends, because I'm like, I know a lot of people, but don't have a lot of friends, because I'm just like, that's just insane how those people behave, So with that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And if there are questions that you would like to ask me, please feel free to reach me on my socials. I will also, if you go into the show notes and you go to podcasts, where it says where you can leave me a message, at the very bottom of the page is an area that you can leave me a voice message. Feel free to leave me a voice message or just email me under the contact me page on my webpage, or just find me on my socials, DM me. I have a question. Can you please answer this next time on your podcast? It's been wonderful, you guys. Again, thank you for listening to the Pursuit of Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Naz Kazemi. I would love if you subscribe, liked, shared my podcast, trying to get my subscriber count up. And if you could go to my YouTube and subscribe there as well, I would really appreciate that. Until next time, talk soon.